From downtown Scranton, this is Northeast Current. WQPX invites you to join us as we explore public affairs, current events, and arts and culture in northeastern and central Pennsylvania. Now let's meet today's guests on Northeast Current.
Well, hello, and a very, very warm welcome to you, our viewing angels out there. You are watching Northeast Current for ION TV, and I'm your host, Lisa Marie Adalian. And we are here in Studio A, which is nestled in the beautiful building called the Oppenheim Building, which is located in the historic downtown Scranton, Pennsylvania area. Often called the Electric City, our show is electrifying today because my guest today, let me just tell it like this. He is appearing before you through the magic of television, but should you have to appear before him, he may just throw the book at you, and it could very well be this book, the book that he has written. It is called Justice or Just This, a Constitutional Trespass, and those sound like fighting words. So help me welcome our in-studio guest today, the Honorable Judge Jeffrey Kent Sprecher. How do you do, Judge? It's an honor.
I do well, thank you.
It's an honor, Your Honor.
It's a pleasure to be here, and happy Independence Day.
Thank you. Ergo the tie. Thank you for bringing the flag to our set, a little patriotism.
Yeah.
Judge, because our show is called The Current, before we get into the heart of your book and your illustrious past, which I know is just that, currently, where do you reside, with whom, if you care to share, and
Sure.
where do you preside, if you will?
Okay. Muhlenberg Township, which is right outside Reading, Berks County.
Okay.
And I've been there 21 and a half, well, I've been in the courthouse 21 and a half years. We've been living in Muhlenberg for 30-some years. My wife, Jane, 3 grown children have moved on. And in fact, another interesting point, I delivered my middle daughter, Mary Ellen, at Nesbitt Hospital, which I don't know if it exists anymore, down on Wyoming Avenue, I believe it is, in 1975. But anyway, that's my middle one.
Wow.
Then Brad is our oldest, and Elizabeth is the youngest.
Well, that's amazing.
And
so
4 grandchildren.
And your grandpa as well. Oop,
Yes.
I already dropped a card, but that's exciting because I have to get right to it. Judge, if we were to take a little field trip to your courtroom, I'm sure we'd see an array of diplomas. Just very briefly, give us a thumbnail sketch of where you started out in life. Where was your elementary school, your grade school?
Well, I started in Fleetwood.
Fleetwood.
Fleetwood, yeah. That's where they made the Cadillac.
How about that? That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, before it moved on to Detroit.
Uh-huh.
Small town, 4,000 people. My mom still lives there.
How about that?
It's home. You can take the boy out of Fleetwood, but you can't take Fleetwood out of the boy.
And then how about high school?
High school, Fleetwood.
Great.
Yeah.
Just in case a few of your classmates are looking in
Yes,
today, which
well,
we hope.
This is our 45th high school reunion.
Is it?
Yeah,
Well, you don't look a day over.
It's, I think, Saturday a week.
Well, marvelous.
yeah.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you, yeah. It's always a good event.
Oh, definitely, especially when you're a judge now.
Well,
They'll say you did good. So I know there's a lot of colleges and a lot of diplomas. Where did you go to college, sir?
well, I started out in Iowa, and then I transferred to Kutztown, graduated from Kutztown in
great school.
1972. Yeah. And then as I said, I lived up here because my first job was with the Governor's Justice Commission, which was a fantastic job because I learned all about the criminal justice system. And I didn't know anything about the criminal justice system at that time, but what a tremendous experience in 1972. And as I said, I started, our first office was located in Kingston.
Okay.
And then the flood hit. A week after I was first employed, Agnes, and then we ended up in 40 Fort. So our office was in 40 Fort, and I went to Marywood University for a master's degree in public administration, and so I had to live a little bit closer to finish up that diploma.
Wow.
So we lived in Pittston Township in an area called Cork Lane, and the people are just wonderful. We still are very close to many of the people in that area. Then with all this experience, I didn't know anything about the law. I mean, I grew up in a butcher family. 5 generations of every male was in the butcher business, and my 3 brothers started out that way, and they're pretty much related or working in the butcher business today. anyway, so because of my experience, my exposure, which was wonderful, starting with the Governor's Justice Commission.
And who was the governor at that time?
That was Schaap, Milton Schaap. And then I moved on to become a court administrator. The chairman of the Northeast region was the president judge in Berks County, and I'm from Berks County, but anyway, he invited me to apply. They invited me to apply for the position of court administrator. And with that kind of experience, I knew one thing, and I knew for sure that I wanted to go to law school. So as a court administrator, I would drive down from Reading to Wilmington, Delaware for night school, and got my law degree from Wilmington, Delaware.
Very ambitious boy.
Well, you know, that's what's great about this country. You know, if you have a dream, and you have to have a dream, and everybody has a dream,
Absolutely.
Go for it, because it can be done. You can be whatever you want to be in this country. There's no question about it. It may take a lot of extra work, a lot of extra time, but anybody can accomplish whatever they want to accomplish, which is a wonderful thing, especially right at the 4th of July.
Absolutely. Well, I'm very proud to know that the judge has personal ties to our area, so a little shout out to our beautiful Catholic Marywood University and the IHM sisters. That's wonderful. And you received a master's from Marywood.
Yes.
And you went on after that, after grad school, for
to
more law?
School. Yeah, to law school. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I'm understanding your illustrious career, you were inspired to study the law,
Yeah.
you studied the law, you practiced the law, right?
Yes,
You were in private
right.
practice?
Yeah, for 10 years.
And what type of law was that?
Just general practice. I started on my own because I had a family when I hung my shingles, so to speak, so I couldn't work in a law firm. I couldn't afford that, so I continued to work as a court administrator and doing things like
Right.
that part-time while I opened my office in Fleetwood.
Right.
and then eventually opened up a permanent office near Reading, and did that for 10 years.
Yes. So then you practiced law,
Yeah.
and then you were assigned to overview the law and to new and improve it, if you will.
Well, you mean as a court administrator?
Yes.
Yeah,
to
I was,
analyze it, to make it
yeah.
mo better for we, the
Right,
citizenry.
for
Yes.
the court system. The court system is all legal and precedent, and,
Yes.
and that's what I love about it.
Yes.
But it needs management, as everything does,
Right.
and there's so much tradition with the court system. So there's a lot of bucking of management, and so it was a very good experience for me there also as an administrator trying to make changes, and we did make many changes, and as I said, it was a great 8 years that I was there.
Well, I'm sure there were changes for the best. So then you helped overhaul the law, and then you disseminate the law as a judge.
Right.
And let me ask you, what compelled you to run for, because it is an elected post,
Right.
is it not?
Sure. Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
mhm.
Yeah. First of all, I didn't how did you say that?
Overhaul it.
Overhaul. I didn't overhaul
Oh, okay.
I don't want to take that kind of credit or blame. but yeah, I decided, especially with the experience I had, going to see the president judge and waiting outside for 3 minutes to see him.
Wow.
And going in there, I'm waiting. It's like waiting outside of the principal's office, and I go in and see him, and I get my directions, or I talk to him on the phone very quickly. He's a very busy man, and I knew from being in the courtroom. We used to open with a statement: all manner of person who stand bound or under recognizance, who would prosecute, sue, or plead, draw nigh. Give your
Wow.
attention, and ye shall be heard. God save the Commonwealth and this honorable court. Court is now in session. I heard it a million times.
Wow, that was very good.
Well, thank you.
Very good memorization.
Yeah, it's amazing
Very
what
good
we
recall.
memorized. Yeah, well, anyway, because of that and being in the courtrooms, I just knew that was my ultimate dream, and so I thought, well, I'll run for it, because it seems like you have to run a couple of times, get my name out there, and that's what I did. And we actually, the first time, had more votes than the second candidate who won on the Republican side. I didn't have enough on the Republican or the Democrat, but
Okay.
together we had more votes than she did. And so then I knew I had to run again, and a year later they created 2 new positions, 2 new judgeships. And I'll never forget, I was getting ready to go to the office, and my wife's in bed and we're listening to the radio. It's announced on the radio. She takes the covers and she throws them over her head. Oh no, another campaign.
Oh yes, it is stressful to the missus.
Especially to her, yeah.
Sure,
yeah.
sure. So you did win that
yeah.
second go around.
Yes.
And you've been elected again since?
Yeah, well, we have retention election.
Retention, yes.
And I've been retained twice.
Well, good for you.
Elected in '91, retained in 2001, and retained again in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll get real close to finishing my term, but at age 70 I have to retire, mandatory retirement.
Well, that's 40 years from now, so you're good to go.
Thank you, you're so kind.
Oh, yeah. So if we were to visit you in your courtroom, what does a day in your life look like? And then we'll get to your book.
Well, I love the interesting aspect of everything in the law. I've always said, and I know I'm really in a minority in this area, that I would love to be in a small county where I handle everything that comes in the door.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I've done absolutely everything that you can possibly do in the court system. And today what I'm doing is I handle civil cases, which I love the challenge, the trials and trying to settle cases,
Okay.
Personal injury, medical malpractice, nursing home, liability, contracts, many contracts. And then I handle juvenile court, 1 week a month of juvenile court. And now I'm in a new area. I'm in the homicide rotation. We have 6 of us that are doing murder cases. They're the only we rotate among us, and I've been doing those for many years, and I have 2 more to try this year. And then I was now assigned to the newest area, the only thing I didn't do before, which is called dependency court, which most people don't even know what that is, but it's the children and youth or the local agency petitioning to take the children away, and a judge has to hear it and decide it, and of course the parents have a lawyer, the children have a lawyer, and children and youth have a lawyer, so it's very, very emotional, and it's a very important area of the law. So I do that as well.
Wow.
But I only do that 1 day a month.
Wow.
So it's variety. That's
almost
for sure.
a carefree life.
Well,
Wow.
I don't know if it's carefree.
I don't think so. It sounds like a lot of stressful activity.
It's
a lot of responsibility.
challenging,
Very
yes.
challenging.
Yes.
Well, we thank you for your public service.
Thank you.
So tell me, what is a murder case like? Because we are watching Eye on TV, which carries a lot of syndication, a lot of murder shows and things, but this is real life murder.
Yeah.
So would you say that you've handled over 100 cases, under 100?
No. Well, probably, you mean the trial? No, fortunately we don't have that many
Oh, that's good.
in Berks County. We have a population of a little over 400,000, so we have, I think we have 28 pending right now.
Wow.
And divided among 6. So I have probably tried 15, maybe 20 in the 21 years that I've been doing this, 22 years. And I've taken guilty pleas on many others then. So I probably handled 40 or 50 or something like that.
Well, you're watching Northeast Current, and we are with our guest who came all the way from Berks County today to join us. He is the Honorable Judge Jeffrey Kent Sprecher, and this is his book, and we're going to return very shortly after these short messages to learn more about the contents of this fired up and furious book about our judicial system. We'll be right back.